So today we're talking with Sandra Storts about the e-learning options at Wellpark College of Natural Therapies in Auckland, New Zealand. Sandra, we realise that education has changed where students are increasingly interested in online study options and e-learning has become the norm. What are the benefits of utilising e-learning?
Hi everyone. So first of all, it's probably helpful to give a little bit of clarification what the term e-learning refers to, as this is a bit of an umbrella term that could mean any kind of things what you may have heard of, such as distance, online, blended learning. So e-learning, generally the E stands for any kind of inclusion or integration of technology, particular communication, internet technology. So e-learning has been around for a long time and also in Wellpark, and therefore is not a new concept. However, we have expanded in our delivery the blended delivery and the online delivery. So in terms of the question, how is e-learning benefiting you or how you can utilize it? Well, in fact, the one sentence I could say is access to learning. Access to learning is made much easier worldwide. It's also very known to, in the literature you can see the 3 W's, and the 3 W's stand for where you can access the learning, when you can access the learning, and what you can access. And so where to access the learning literally implies is because of the online nature, you can sit anywhere and access the learning from wherever you are geographically. For mostly also maybe in New Zealand. Now we have courses, for example, where we have students coming from all over New Zealand, so from the top to the bottom of the country. Now in terms of the when you can access it, so there is some kind of flexibility in terms of to fit it your time commitments and your time schedule when you can access the learning. And there's also a little bit of flexibility around the what. Now the what is obviously given in terms of what the curriculum and what you're meant to study. However, what is really has improved since the introduction of e-learning is the what. In a sense, we've got so much information at our hands through the internet. So that is definitely one of the benefits overall. Now, generally speaking, another benefit is, if really well used, is collaboration. Although online learning can be a bit of an isolated journey, it is actually, if well done, can really enhance the learning for your own needs by using all the collaborative tools and the abilities to communicate with your peers, as an example. So that's what I would say.
Great. So what e-learning study options does Wellpark College provide?
Okay. So just to elaborate, as said before, we do still offer the traditional face-to-face, so where students come into a classroom. However, we consider it part of our e-learning journey in a sense that these students are still learning or using something called Moodle you may have heard of from your school time or from your previous study. So pretty much an interface where students can access information relevant to their learning. Now this is also used for communication with tutors and so forth. Now this study is delivered for the diploma in yoga. Now we also have a blended delivery, and blended delivery is something you may not have heard of so often, and it refers to that the students will come into the classroom or on campus at the same time as accessing some on-learn components. Now in fully online delivery refers to that the students will be more or less for most of the time be off campus, so accessing their learning through the online platform.
Great. Could you elaborate on which Wellpark courses are offered solely online and by blended delivery?
Okay. So to start with the blended delivery, as these are our main courses at the moment, so the blended delivery, as said, is online and coming on campus. And starting with our Bachelor in Naturopathy and Herbal Medicine, this is one of the qualifications that are offered in a blended delivery model since 2016. So what that means for you, after 3 years that qualification is designed in terms of how you have to complete it, the first 2 years you have the option to either be a face-to-face student, or you can have the option of being a blended delivery student, meaning that you, for most of the first 2 years subjects, you will be able to access the learning through a virtual classroom live streaming facility. And how that works is that you will be streaming via online software into the actual classroom that takes place on campus, that's being scheduled for certain times as it normally would with a face-to-face delivery. And you basically be able to participate in that classroom through, well, in a virtual sense. Now, however, what's really important to notice is in these 2 years, you might be living outside of Auckland. You will have to allow time to be coming on campus for what we call intensives. And what that means is that you will be spending about a week on an average of once the term for the first 2 years. Now the third year, as you may know about naturopathy, it's a practice-based profession that you would be studying for. So therefore we really highly value your progression and growing you as a confident practitioner. Therefore the third year is only offered as a face-to-face student, meaning you will have to actually come on campus. Now for the blended delivery for the massage qualification, so what we're currently offering, the Diploma in Wellness and Relaxation Massage, delivery blended looks very different. And what that means is that you will come on campus every week, and the focus for the sessions that are delivered every week on campus are practical. So practical in a sense that you will be able to apply your massage skills, that you will be practicing on your peers, that you will have highly interactive sessions on theory subjects. So the idea of blended is that certain contents, theory contents mainly, is being taken online, which you independently outside of your campus time will be following a certain pathway that is given per course and engage with it. And then following your engagement with that material online, you'll be able to come to class and interact, discuss, ask questions, so be tailored to your own needs. For the homeopathy is our first and only fully conducted online course, so the true online learning. And what that means is that for the most you'll be accessing your learning through our student management platform, and you will be accessing recordings. You also will be participating in tutor-led tutorials via a software, communication software, and you also be able to actually do your practice module through the online environment. And that case takes that are very important in the homeopathy is actually that your tutor will be streaming into cases that you will have organized with potential clients. Now, essentially the only time you will have to be on campus is for the first and the second term, where you will have to show up for the exams, the written exams.
Great. So what might a week of study look like for a student choosing any of these study options?
Well, this does depend a little bit on whether you're full-time or part-time, but generally speaking, going by the fact that you're committing yourself full-time, the message needs to be really clear. Full-time, you have to treat it a little bit like a full-time job, like a 40-hour job. And the reason being is, although there is obviously the convenience of you accessing the online learning and being able to choose a little bit of when you do this, you will still have to work towards assessment, you will still have to meet certain learning requirements, and you still will have to be able to manage essentially to cover all the coursework that you're required to do in order to gain the qualification. So more or less the rule applies, and as for the normal face-to-face environment, that half of your time you'll be roughly spending on campus, which for the naturopathy student would be roughly a 3-day on campus. And for the master's students, an average of 2.5 days on campus. However, the other 2.5 days or 3 days, depending a little bit on how you structure it, is something that you will have to schedule in, which we call your self-directed learning at home. So overall, as said again, it needs to be treated as a full-time job, and normally the recommendation is that because of that if you choose full-time, only to work up to 10 hours next to your studies.
Great. So will an off-campus student learn the same things as an on-campus student?
Yes. So in a simple way I can say yes, and for the reasons what I already started to touch on, All our qualifications are NZQA registered, which means that you will have, or we're meeting certain requirements and certain times and credits, as we refer to it, that you have to be basically spending engaged in learning. It took really a long time, and in terms of, we put a lot of effort in terms of that. Although we wanted convenience and flexibility, it was utmost important for Wellpark to actually maintain the quality of delivery in regards to becoming a confidential practitioner. And what that means is that the delivery chosen, as said before, that you will be streaming into the classrooms, and for your third year to be present on campus, is part of that pedagogical model to ensure that you feel confident by the end of or when you graduate. So therefore, yes, you also be able to take your qualification further, and because of the way we structured the blended delivery, you'll be able actually to do another honours year, for example, with one of the colleges across in Australia called Endeavour.
Great. So does that mean that an off-campus student will graduate with the same qualification as an on-campus student?
Yes, it will. So for the reasons that are already stipulated, that we are New Zealand, that we are NZQA accredited, and also for the fact that we have taken considerate amount of effort to not lower the quality and the standards of that profession.
Fantastic. What does it take to be a successful off-campus student when engaging in e-learning?
It does definitely take takes a few characteristics, and it may be something that you're not that used to. However, to be said, something that can be learned. So foremost, the first rule is probably time management. You will, because of having a little bit of that structure in your day, and because of having the ability to choose when and where and what, you will have to bring the structure within your day. So time management would be the first one. Now the second one, and this is very much supported by evidence as well, is that you need support. So the support coming from your family, from your extended family, from your friends, but also the support that obviously comes from the college and Wellpark College. So support is really important, that you seek out support, and also that you have support structures in place. Now the third one, because it can be a bit of a lonely road, so the more you spend time online, a student kind of talk about feeling a little bit disengaged, feeling a little bit lonely. So therefore it's really important for you to be taking the chance of scheduled online sessions to stream into the classroom as for the Naturopathy. But it's also really important to seek the communication with your peer via certain facilities that are normally offered as part of your online program. So really important to communicate your needs with a tutor, but as well your questions as well you have with tutor and your peers. Now another one that is a little bit important is, or what you may be a bit concerned about, is your digital literacy, meaning, you know, how you can cope with all the internet and kind of all the technology. Now this is actually one of the benefits, in fact, of e-learning, that you're becoming a little bit more savvy in using this. However, it does pay off, obviously, that you have a little bit of basic skills. Wellpark will support students. We do offer support in a sense to learn all these skills that I just outlined, but also to give you maybe some pointers if you had trouble with access or trouble with certain internet or kind of, you know, technology skills to support you with that. Okay.
Great. So what are the technology requirements of e-learning?
Yeah. Pretty much the first one, what you will need is a stable and a good quality access to the internet, because of the fact that we're using recordings or visual and audio. So therefore the dropping in and dropping out may not be as ideal, particularly if you participated in one of the classroom sessions as for the Naturopathy. And kind of extended on this, you will need a device. So the devices that we recommend is either a laptop, which could be a Mac or a PC, or a desktop version. Yes, they still exist. Many of our younger students normally come and think they can use any of the smart devices. The while you can use them in terms of to communicate and to check your notes and all this, we do not recommend them as your main means of studies. Simply for the fact that they are too small in terms of the screen. certain technicalities haven't quite been adjusted yet to all these smart devices such as your recording, so you may not be able to access actually the recordings. And the third recommendation given is that you be able to have a software program or anything that supports word processing, so Microsoft being the more popular one. Now also important for you maybe is in terms of the device should have microphone ideally, and also some form of a camera and something that plays back the audio and the visual, as animations and videos are used very commonly.
Great. Can an off-campus student apply for study-linked loans and fees-free?
The general question or the general answer is yes, for the reason as said before, it's an NZQA approved course. However, I have to point out that it does depend on your individual requirements, which are more related to your age, whether you study full-time, part-time, and in terms of your dependency on your parents. So please gain the information from the appropriate sites, but generally yes.
Great. So what should students do now if they would like to find out more about the courses offered by Wellpark College?
Well, if you haven't done so, go to our website www.wellpark.co.nz and find the appropriate course, but also feel free to click on our enroll button or contact button, where you'll be able to get in touch with us and to also book in for either a Skype interview or for just an interview on site as you please.
Great, thanks very much.